Thanks for tuning in to Proline TV, the Ourlads Football Network, as we get the opportunity to talk about the New York Giants. And anytime we do that, we turn our attention to this gentleman here from the New York Post, NFL reporter Ryan Dunleavy. How's it going, Ryan?
What's up, Greg? How are you?
Doing good. Good time to have this conversation, considering the big news that I'm sure Giant fans, or most Giant fans, should be stoked about. Of course, it's, anything's possible, but that's why we have you on. So we'll get into that. We'll get into of course, it's still early stages of the offseason, but we'll try to find out what the Giants will probably look to do to bolster up their depth chart in free agency and the NFL draft. So let's start up there at the top, Ryan. Are fans generally excited about bringing in John Harbaugh?
Yeah, I mean, it's the most excited I've ever seen this fan base. Probably even more so than the Vikings playoff win a couple years ago. I started doing this 8 years ago, so it's the most excited. I missed the Coughlin era, but the most excited I've seen them since, and with good reason. Harbaugh gives them credibility. He gives them what I call a high floor hire. No more punchline for, medium Pepsis giveaways and not having a healthy kicker on the field and, all the kinds of stuff, all the kinds of Jets-like stuff that the Giants were doing. All that stuff should be done. If John Harbaugh has a bad season, it's like 7 wins. The Giants haven't had 7 wins. They have 13 wins in the last 3 years combined. So, their Giants fan is pumped, thrilled. They were ready to give John Harbaugh the moon, and what they ended up giving him was 5 years, $100 million, and final say over the roster.
Yeah, when you have a coach that's had this much success in one location and it's all about the Super Bowl and playoffs aren't good enough, it's no surprise when they feel better off going somewhere else, where if you get that team just to the postseason, the fan base is ecstatic. And that's exactly what's going on now. So now, again, say what you want about Harbaugh being fired and all that. But, you get the feeling that I'm sure this is not a bad move for Harbaugh. If he thought it was, maybe he'd decide to take the year off, which I think Mike Tomlin's going to. But this is a really good opportunity. I mean, I thought this was maybe the best job available when the carousel began, because of the market, because of the young players on offense, on defense, including the young quarterback Jackson Dart. And that just made it that much easier for John Harbaugh to make this decision. Has he spoken a whole lot yet about why he's been there? Has there been a press conference yet?
Yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah. So Dart is a huge reason why he got the job, why he wanted the job. They had a 2-hour sit down, basically, but while Harbaugh was on his interview, the Giants pretty much had to break it up because they were so deep into talking football and life. They're going to be a perfect match, both personality-wise. Dart loves football. He's dying to win. And scheme-wise, obviously, he's not Lamar Jackson. No one is, but he is a running quarterback. And Harbaugh and his staff will be able to teach Dart how to take better care of himself as a runner. Ownership was a big selling point to Harbaugh. He's known John Mara through league committees and owners meetings, and this kind of stuff really rich people hang out at in the NFL. They've known each other for years that way, had a mutual respect across enemy lines. Obviously, his dad is a coach's coach. Instilled, the Giants are a premier franchise. He's thinking of the Frank Gifford days. Yeah, he doesn't care that they've lost for 10 years in a row or whatever it is. Jack Harbaugh's, in his 80s. He's thinking about the glory days.
Sure.
Tom Coughlin is a friend of John Harbaugh's. He made a big recommendation to Harbaugh on what it's like to be the Giants coach. That played a huge role in it. And then Chris Mara, John's brother, who's stepped up as kind of like an acting face of ownership, while John is battling cancer, led the recruitment of Harbaugh, driving down to Baltimore a couple times for face-to-face meetings, and he had a big impact. So the Giants did a full court press blitz. They were active instead of reactive for a change, and it worked.
Okay. One more thing on the coaches before we move on. At this point in time, there are no coordinators on staff. So do you think they're getting close? Are you hearing anything, or is it still kind of wide open?
I mean, offensive coordinator will depend on Todd Monken and if he gets the Browns head coaching job. I believe he's had 2 interviews there. I wouldn't say he's the favorite for that job, but he's certainly a finalist. If he gets that job, Harbaugh will have to look somewhere else. I guess he could look to Greg Roman, who his brother just fired and he worked with previously when Lamar was a young player. But Monken's the favorite if he's available. Harbaugh speaks incredibly highly of him. They'll have to do the Rooney Rule interviews, but it would be a surprise if anybody beat out Monken. T. Martin could come. He was the quarterback's coach for Lamar. He could come here with Monken and Harbaugh on the offensive side. And then defensively, there's a ton of candidates. I think it'll probably come down to Zach Orr, who was the Ravens defensive coordinator.
Please no.
Anthony Weaver, who was the Dolphins defensive coordinator, and Jim Leonard, the former Jets safety, who is the Broncos assistant head coach. He's the former defensive coordinator at Wisconsin, and he, I think, is a very strong candidate for both the Jets and the Giants defensive coordinator jobs.
Yeah, I hear Leonard in like a handful of opportunities, so he's going to be somewhere. And who knows? I don't know whether or not he's also a candidate in Denver, depending on what happens with Vance Joseph. That's a possibility too.
Correct.
He'll be a defensive coordinator in 2026, no doubt about that. Yeah, for Giant fans' sake, I definitely hope it's Leonard or Weaver. I don't understand what.
Denard Wilson too. Let's not rule him out. The Titans defensive coordinator. I think he would.
Okay.
He's a possibility. Now, look, a lot of these guys are interviewing for head coach jobs, so
true.
See where they wind up, and then see which one of their friends ends up. If Weaver gets a head coach job, he might want Wilson, and vice versa. But I think he's in the mix too because he's a former Harbaugh defensive backs coach. So, yeah, I would think they will have an experienced play caller on defense one way or another. The tree is pretty expansive there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Zach Orr. I think he's just doing Zach Orr a favor. Zach Orr has been terrible. The Ravens defense has been awful the last several seasons since he's taken over. So they could sugarcoat it any way they like. He was not a good defensive coordinator. Okay, so let's get into personnel now. And we're going to start with free agency. The cap, the numbers say they're even, which means the Giants will have more than enough money to figure out how to sign some free agents. Do you think that they're going to have enough to make a big splash or two? What's your guess on that?
Yeah, I did a big deep dive into it during week 18 of the season. They'll have more than their cap is the healthiest it's been in a long time. The raw numbers might not show it, but there's almost no dead money going forward. They've been anchored down in the past by dead money on Galladay or Daniel Jones or insert, Kadarius Toney or whatever. Like they're pretty clean. They don't do void years, so their cap is pretty straightforward. They can do restructures on Dexter Lawrence or Brian Burns or Andrew Thomas or Paulson Adebo, so they can clear up money that way. They're going to have a couple obvious salary cap cuts that they can make to free up money. So I think they'll be able to pretty much, I don't know if they'll be top of the market players, but they'll be able to pretty much add quality players wherever they want.
Who are those obvious cuts?
I'm looking here. Is this just the free agents?
Yeah, I'll pop up the depth chart because there were a number of players I noticed that did not have good seasons, especially on defense. Is that where some of those guys might? I
gotta look at the cap hits. Hold on.
Okay, because I know the entire secondary.
Well, they're not going anywhere because they're okay. Caps. Yeah, they're
So Banks, Adebo, Holland, Newbin, they're all
Those
staying.
guys. Well,
Yeah. Well, Newbin's young. Yeah.
Newman's young. The other two guys, they would cost more to get rid of them than it would
Okay.
to
How
keep
about
them.
Flott?
So,
Do you think he'll be back as a free agent?
well, hold on. Let's get to the salary cap casualties. Bobby Okereke, very
Okay.
possible. 9 million savings for 5.4 dead. Very, very possible. John Runyon, I don't think so, but you could save 9.25 to have 2.5 dead. He played for Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, so I'm guessing he's going to get a good recommendation. So I think he'd stay. James Hudson will be gone. 5.3 saved for 2.3 dead. He was a bust as a free agency signing last year. Devin Singletary, third running back, 5.25 saved, 1.25 dead. He'll be gone. Graham Gano, time for an overhaul at kicker, 4.5 saved for 1.25 dead. So there you go. You're freeing up $25 million just right there. So
Okay.
Flott is an interesting one. He's not a big guy. He had a big career. He had a career year, a well-timed career year. I think Harbaugh likes bigger guys than Cordell Flott. I would guess if I had to, I would guess he is not back, but they don't have anybody ready to step into that role. So they would need to sign a starting caliber corner to play that role. But
Okay.
I would guess he's not back, but they didn't really give. I don't think he was thrilled with the way he was used his first 3 years here, or even the first half of this year. They didn't trust him until he forced them to trust him. So I would think he could end up somewhere else.
Out of those, because they did invest pretty heavily in the secondary, and just looking here with Banks and I mean Belton's a free. Let's talk Belton. Do you think Belton comes back?
No, I would think his same kind of thing. They've passed him over for a starting opportunity 4 times. I would think he wants a fresh start.
Okay. Banks, Phillips, Newbin. These are young guys, pretty high draft picks. Which one of them, or multiple guys, have the opportunity? Do you think they still have the talent to be a significant part of the defense?
Yeah, I would say the guy who's been the most promising through 2 years is Phillips. I would say the guy I think ends up as the best player is Newbin. We'll see what Harbaugh means. Obviously, he's had good safeties his whole career. So we'll see what kind of influence him and his coaching staff can have on Newbin. He's a guy I would not give up on yet. No, he's a terrific leader. He's not quick enough in the NFL. If he takes one wrong step, he gets beat. So I don't know, maybe they move him into more of a box role or something. I like his talent. I just think he might be miscast how they've been using him for 2 years.
Okay. And we're going to be on year 3 with Banks as well.
No,
so
year 4.
Year 4, yeah, with Banks. So yeah, talk about whether or not.
Yeah, I mean, they're wasting their time. It
is what it is.
It is what it is. Okay. He's a talented kick returner. He's the classic, looks the part. He's athletic. He has got burst. But he hasn't gotten any better. His flaws from day one are still his flaws. He doesn't turn his head in coverage. The ball drops over his head all the time. He's not a good tackler, not a high effort player. I can't imagine John Harbaugh is going to like Deonte Banks.
Okay. Getting back to some of the free agents, we'll stay on defense. So McFadden, of course, coming off the injury.
Joe Shane said the other day that they're going to look to get something done with. I don't know if they will. It's a hard one to do. He had 2 really good years before this year when he got injured for the season in week 1. Does that make him take like a 1-year prove it deal? They're obviously going to try to undercut his value because he got hurt. Does somebody pay extra for him because they believe he'll get back to full strength? The valuations, I think, will be all over the place on him. Their best chance of him coming is him wanting a 1-year prove it deal.
Okay. And also on defense, you got a couple. Actually, Davidson, that's not a good player, right? Davidson, he needs to move on.
He's just a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's back, maybe he's not. I don't know. He's the 5th defensive tackle on somebody's team.
And Nunez Roches is just a guy too. They don't need him.
He's a veteran guy. He's a good locker room guy. He's been on Super Bowl teams, but I think he's looking to go to somewhere else.
Oh, okay. All right. Offensively, as far as the free agents are concerned, offensive line, Illuminor and Van Routen. Van Routen actually led the offensive line in snaps this year. There's a
2 years in a
solid.
row. He hasn't missed a snap in 2 years, which is really impressive at age 35.
Yes.
Think
he'll be back 1 year deal?
I think if they'd take him, if he would come back to be a rotational guard, maybe somebody who has a chance to start, or like the swing guard, I think they would take him back. I don't think they're going to pencil him in as a starter.
Okay. Illuminor?
He'll go to the highest bidder, as he should. He hasn't made a lot of money in his career. He played the best he has in his career last year. He's finally settled at right tackle. He's a good player. He's an above average right tackle. I believe he will take the highest. I believe he'll go to the highest bidder. Now, maybe that's the Giants. I mean, Harbaugh was part of drafting him with the Ravens in 2017. He didn't develop until much later. He's, he's from London, got a late start in football, but he's playing his best ball right now. It would not surprise me if somebody in the league paid him $18-20 million.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me either. We all know how desperate teams are for linemen, that's for sure. And we know Evan Neal's definitely gone, right?
Evan Neal's gone.
Yeah, okay. And we know Russell's gone.
Russell is gone.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So the last one, well, actually, also a couple others. Schlottman.
I have no idea. I mean, I think the Giants are going to target Tyler Linderbaum in free agency. So they already have the returning center, John Michael Schmitz. So I don't know if one of them can kick to guard for a year, or if that makes one of them available, that makes Schmitz a trade candidate, or I don't know. But I would think if you have Schlottman and if you have Schmitz and Linderbaum, you ain't going to need Schlottman. So
true. Oh, is that how you pronounce his name? Schlottman?
Yeah, Schlottman.
Okay. No T's. Yeah. That's silent. Okay. And the tight ends, the second and third guys are free agents. Will either one of those guys be back, Bellinger and Manhertz?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I guess Manhertz signs a 1-year contract somewhere every year as to be a blocking tight end, really like a 6th offensive lineman. He's just a huge dude. I guess it's possible. I mean, Harbaugh loves big dudes. So I guess he fits the mold. He'd be like in that Charlie Kohler role. And who is Bellinger? I would think he moves on somewhere else.
And then the last guy is Wandell.
That's really the interesting one. Like, really good player, back-to-back 90 catch seasons, 1,000 yards this year, inside outside versatility, but he's the smallest. He's 5'8", 185. He's the smallest 1,000-yard receiver in the NFL since, like, I want to say 1990. So do you believe in him? Like, it would not surprise me if he's not for everybody. Like, somebody will sign him, somebody will believe in him, somebody will pay him $15 million or more. I don't know if it's going to be John Harbaugh. I mean, he did have Zay Flowers. Wandale's not as fast as Zay Flowers. He's tough as nails, but I would think if you don't have a history with him, you're going to look at him and say he's 5'8". I can't pay that kind of money. It would not surprise me if wherever Daboll and Kafka end up as coordinators, if they convince their team to sign Wandale Robinson.
Okay, rookies, and again, you just look at the young kids, especially. We talked about Dart. We know Scadaboo had a big year before the injury. Carter. How did you look at Carter's overall rookie season?
So on the field, I thought he was pretty good. He's a kind of guy that 20 years ago we would have said he was a disappointment, but now we have analytics and now we understand pressures and quick pressures. Like, he didn't have a lot of sacks. What do you have? 3.5, 4 sacks. But I think he led rookies in pressures. He was among the NFL leaders in quick pressures, not just rookies, anybody in quick pressures, which is 2.5 seconds or less, I think. So analytically, he was there. It suggests that over the long term, he's going to be a really good pass rusher. Sometimes you bring the guy down and sometimes you don't. But you think that stuff all evens out at the end of the day. So on the field, I thought he was pretty good. He definitely got better as the season went along. Off the field was more of a bumpy road. Missed meetings, late to stuff, had to be benched twice for disciplinary stuff. It seemed like it clicked a little more towards the end. And then as he started playing well, it seemed like he embraced it even more. He started to see the rewards, and then he started to see the hard work was worth the rewards. I would think John Harbaugh will have a foot up his butt pretty far and will get the most out of him.
Okay. Also on the defensive front, how did Darius Alexander look?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You would expect more from a 3rd-round pick, but definitely somebody who got better as the season went along. Was a healthy scratch week 1. He looked like he got better, like he's a competent, 3rd, 4th kind of defensive tackle. I don't think he's a pencil you in next to Dexter Lawrence starter,
okay,
but like a rotational kind of guy, which, you probably wanted more out of a guy who's 24 or 25 getting drafted. You wanted an immediate impact, but that doesn't always happen.
I know Corey Black is a rookie who originally went to the Jets. He actually played almost 200 snaps. Do you think he's part of the depth in the defensive backfield, or he's just a player?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay.
Honestly, he made no impact on me whatsoever as a rookie. I have no idea what they're gonna think of him once John Harbaugh and the staff comes. Once the new staff gets their hands on him, I have no idea. He started 2 games. The back of the Giants secondary was all over but he actually, when Banks got benched, he actually jumped over Banks at some point. So in a meritocracy, that might work for Corey Black, where he's not just seen as a 7th-round pick, he's seen as how he can play. That might actually work for him.
And how the other offensive guys look? Fedone, I guess he didn't play much.
He broke his foot, I think, at the end of the year, so he barely played.
Okay, and then the offensive lineman from Purdue,
he played good. Yeah, no, he played good. I don't know. There will be a temptation for the Giants to put Marcus Bowe, if they lose Jermaine Illuminor in free agency, to go with the cheap Marcus Bowe starts at right tackle plan and use the resources elsewhere. That would worry me. I don't know if he's ready for that, to be the every down starting right tackle on an offensive line that finally got pretty good this year after 15 years of being bad. That would be a lot of pressure to put on Marcus Bowe. I would rather see him as a good swing tackle you can have confidence in, especially because Andrew Thomas misses games. But no, he provided a lot of reason for optimism.
Okay. Now, are there any other young players on the roster that fans outside of New York, outside the team, they don't follow the team, they don't realize that there are a couple of young players that might actually wind up being, part of the roster on a much larger scale in the next year or two?
Well, I mean, we didn't talk about Cam Skattebo, but I assume everybody knows Cam Skattebo. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a viral sensation, yeah. Crazy person. He'll be part of it. Him and Tyrone Tracy. Look, I've been really critical of the Giants for letting Saquon Barkley go. They might have a nice little tandem there with Tracy and Skattebo. I think that could work. Somebody who I'm looking at the rest of the roster in terms of young players. You said that.
Yeah, I don't see a whole lot.
There's not a lot.
No,
I mean, the Giants roster in a nutshell, Greg, is top heavy. Like, they have 8 or 9 pretty good high end players, and then player 10 and player 53 are not that different. So that's kind of, they need to build up reinforcements. That's where they need to be.
Okay. How is this kid, this linebacker here?
Oh, Theo Johnson. There you go. There you want a guy, Theo Johnson. Him and Dart have a really good connection. I don't know. He probably had 5 or 6 touchdowns this year. the building's high on him. Obviously, we don't know what Harbaugh thinks of him, but he had a pretty good. Too many drops, but also showed some explosiveness. And the Giants don't have enough explosiveness outside of Malik Neighbors. So Dart likes him, and we all know what a quarterback, tight end, best friend relationship can do for you.
And you're mentioning Gano is a potential casualty. Gunner is a free agent. You think I know the special teams coach is coming back, right? So
I don't think so. That would surprise.
Really?
Did that come out? That
no, I just
you might be breaking news to me. I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't expect him back. I mean, Harbaugh's a special teams guy, so
I didn't realize that he had let him go yet. Okay.
I mean, he hasn't let anybody go yet.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, but
so he was probably going to replace him as well.
I would think so. He's a special teams guy. I would think he has his own special teams. They blocked Chris Horton from an interview, which tells you they were trying to replace the guy they have. But the Ravens aren't letting Chris Horton interview, so I assume he'll turn somewhere else. But yeah, that.
So we're going to see a lot of changes on special teams.
I would think
makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
I would think they'd wipe out that whole operation. Maybe Casey Kreider, the long snapper, stays, but wouldn't surprise me to see new coach, new punter, new kicker.
Okay, all right. Now let's. Besides Neighbors and Scadaboo, are there any other guys that just didn't play a whole lot this year that the outside fan just doesn't realize? Oh, don't forget this guy will be back next year and he's going to be a big help. Probably not, right?
You're talking about injury wise?
Yeah, guys like Neighbors and Scadaboo who missed a lot of time.
McFadden played the one game, and like I said, he's a starter if he's healthy and what he used to be. Let me look at this.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I would say that's it. Yeah, there's nobody. Yeah, no, there's nobody else coming back from injury or whatever.
Okay. All right. And then let's dive into another big one here. And that is the overall team needs for the Giants. And I know there's a lot, but again, as you said, and you're very accurate, obviously, in the fact that there are some top heavy talented players here. So let's go into, I don't know whether or not you have a definite, is it like an absolute number one, no question need?
Well, it depends what happens in free agency. Like, so if you're telling me right tackle, if you're telling me Illuminor, Wandale and Flott aren't back, then cornerback, right tackle, and receiver, 3 premium positions are huge needs. Right now, if you're telling me those guys are on the team, they need to get better on stopping the run. It's been a 2-year, maybe 3-year issue. They can't stop the run, even with Dexter Lawrence. He gets double or triple teamed, and then I think they gave up They gave up a record or near record yards per carry this season. Whether that's middle linebacker, defensive tackle, up the middle defense, they need run stuffers. So whether that's, Devin Lloyd, whether that's a 320 pounder next to Dexter Lawrence, whatever that is, that if the roster today, if you're counting the free agents on it, that would be probably my number one need. But if you're telling me Wandale's not here, then they might need 2 receivers. Right tackle, I don't know that I'd go with Bo. And then cornerback, obviously, you can't play Banks, so they need a starter there.
Okay, so outside of those 3 potential spots, then are you saying that there really isn't, as of now, right now, a definite need that is considered number one?
I mean, I just gave you 4 that I would consider number one. I would consider wide receiver, right tackle.
But if all those guys do get back, you're saying that those are not number one needs.
Then up the middle defense. If all those guys are back, then up the middle defense is number one.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, again, I think that's a good thing because I do this 32 times, and for the most part, a lot of the guys, especially the teams that draft where the Giants do, it's like, oh yeah, right away this position. Oh yeah, definitely here. So
I mean, I think I would disagree with you. I mean, I think cornerback's a big one. If Flott's not signed, so that's a
Well,
big.
that's the thing. Yeah, we don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, right tackle's a big right tackle. They don't have a right tackle. They wide receiver. They probably need two of them. Up the middle defense, they need probably a defensive tackle and a middle linebacker if they cut Bobby Okereke. So I mean that's 4 or 5 pretty big needs, spots where they need starters. So
definitely one team that you need to pay attention to free agency. Look at those players that Ryan just mentioned. And then if they do not return, you'll know exactly where the Giants are going to be targeting for the draft. Any other under the radar type spots? Depth wise, anything like that?
I mean, they'll probably, if they lose Bellinger, Manhurts, they need a second tight end. Like I said, I think they need 2 receivers, not just one.
Yeah, that's true. Where is Slayton right now in his development, in his career as a pro? Is he just a solid number 2, or?
No, I think he's more like a 3 or a 4.
Okay.
They paid him like a number 2, and I think they probably would like to have that back. He had too many drops last year. He had. I've always been a Darius Slayton guy. He's been uber consistent in his career. Last year, it was a miserable year for him. To me, he can't be your 2. You could try to make him your 3, but I think they would probably be more comfortable with him in the 4 role. I think he's a trade candidate, to be honest with you. They can't cut him, but I want to say, again, without looking at it, I think they'd get like 6 million saved and 10 million dead if they traded him. I think if they could sign 2 receivers and trade him for something, I think they would do that.
And let's say they're not successful with Linderbaum, and that would be a major move. Do you look at this situation at center and say, yeah, if Linderbaum isn't signed, if they don't get one of those guys, they definitely have to do something at some point in this draft to add another center?
No, Schmitz had his best season. I mean, he could be a starter. I probably would actually, if it wasn't for the Harbaugh Ravens tie, I wouldn't even consider Linderbaum an option. Like I would say Schmitz can start. He was serviceable as a center, and I would go target a big guard. Like, I don't know who the best guard on free agency is, but that's probably what I would do if not for the Harbaugh connection. Now, maybe you get Linderbaum and you convince Schmitz to kick to guard for a year. I don't know, but I don't have a problem with Schmitz as one of my 5 starters. I think he got better this year.
Okay. All right. And at quarterback, we know Dart's there. So Winston, he'll just come back next year as his backup?
Correct. They're settled at quarterback. Dart on the rise. Winston can still play as a backup. Yeah, and I'm sure they'll add some, they'll probably add a undrafted rookie and kick around the league, Tim Boyle veteran as to the practice squad or whatever to be the 3rd quarterbacks.
Excellent. All right. So yeah, it's not as bad as it might appear in New York because not only do they have some really good players, some talented players, some number 1 talented players, but they have a young quarterback, and that's as you know, Ryan, that's like half the game.
And they have a Super Bowl winning coach who you expect to maximize the play. That's the thing, is like the Giants haven't maximized their players, so you would think Harbaugh and his assistants will be able to maximize guys.
Yeah, it should be depending on the offseason. If they have a really successful offseason, the Giants are going to be, well, of course, they got to develop Dart. And if that happens, then I just, the NFL, the Giants could end up being a team that's right there all the way to the end of the regular season.
I mean, we didn't really talk too much about the pass rush. That's probably the best part of the team, right?
Yeah.
It's like Dexter Lawrence had a bad year, but unless you think he's done, you think he'll come back and play better next year. Brian Burns was a defensive player of the year candidate. Abdul Carter, we talked about, really promising. And then, you asked me about a player who we forgotten who could be coming back from injury. Kayvon Thibodeau missed the last 7 games of the season. He's going to be on a walk year this year. He signed to his 5th-year option. He'll be motivated as all heck to play well. So probably not even going to start with Carter and Burns there. But a good player, a quality NFL player, probably not ever going to be worthy of the number 5 pick in the draft, but certainly a quality NFL player who can start for some teams. So I don't know, does he get traded? I don't know. Does he impact? But he's kind of a guy people have forgotten about, and he's gotten better. might not have the pass rush numbers he had a couple years ago, but he's a better run defender than he was a couple years ago.
Yeah, the defense, let's say they do bring back McFadden and they add another player or two. You get the feeling that secondary is the last line of getting that defense to be a top 10 tier unit next year, because that front wall that they have on defense is so talented. And
against the pass, they still can't stop the run.
They got to stop the run. Yeah. A great point. Because that's the thing. A lot of people don't, they look at all these great pass rushers and they do
Correct.
Forget that. And that's
correct. The problem with the Giants is like they didn't get in a lot of pass rushing situations. They were behind a lot, and teams were shoving them, and then teams were in 2nd and 2. So
yeah, not good. But there's a lot of hope, no question about it. And unless look, if something big happens, we'll look to have you back between now and the draft. If not, we look forward to talking to you definitely at some point right after the draft to see how the entire offseason went. What are you working on? Anything specific right now for the Post?
Anything that has John Harbaugh's name in it. Anything, if you know him, if you ever had a cup of coffee with him, if he dated your daughter, reach out to me. I want to write about it.
Okay. Sounds good. Ryan, appreciate it as always.
Thanks for having me on, Greg.
You got it. Ryan Dunleavy of the New York Post. We have links in the description of this video. You can check out all of Ryan's work at the New York Post. And again, we'll look forward to having him on without a doubt after the offseason pretty much concludes after the draft, and to talk to him before the season begins, right around training camp time and the preseason. We'll see you guys tonight at 8:00 when we talk about the Arizona Cardinals with Jess Root. So if you're a Cardinal fan out there, then you want to check in with us later tonight. And that's about it. We'll see you the rest of the week. We have more football shows, including tomorrow at 1:00. We'll take a look at the championship round with Jim, with Mark, with Andy and I. That's at 1:00. And then I'll have an interview also talking Minnesota Vikings football with Adam Patrick on Friday. So once again, for Ryan Dunleavy, I'm Greg DePalma. Thanks for tuning in here. Proline TV, Ourlads Football.